Welcome, Negronis with Nord, episode 69. We have an incredible guest today. Lindsey Rowley is a Lindsey Rowley is a member of Sephora Squad this year. She got the record most testimonials we have ever had, 100,000 testimonials over about 3 weeks, which is absolutely incredible. She has gained over 1.5 million TikTok followers since February. Play that back. 1.5 million since February. She did it all by leaning into her quirks and her individuality, by stopping trying to follow trends and copy other people's content, and just by being herself and having fun. I was hugely inspired by the conversation. She has a whole slew of bangers of advice for y'all, and we managed to talk about farts. I think on the maybe 300 episodes I've done of this show. So enjoy the conversation. Thank you so much, Lindsey. All right, well, Lindsey, thank you so much for joining us. First, I'm loving the makeup look today. Why don't we kick off by you telling us about your look today?
Well, thank you so much for having me. So today I wanted to do a video like doing my makeup to match my outfit, but I'm wearing black. Everything matches black. So I did
That's
green.
true.
Green is good luck, and green is cute. So that's
You're
it.
matching the bottom row of your stuffed animals behind you.
My
So
squishmallows.
well, thank you so much for joining. As I mentioned in the intro, your application for Sephora Squad blew everyone away. We kind of thought maybe there was something broken with the system. How was somebody getting this many testimonials? We have never had somebody get 100,000 testimonials. So you've set the high water mark. You've set the record. I thought I need to understand what this woman is doing. I want to know more. What is this community and what is happening here? So first of all, congratulations on everything that you have built, and congratulations on getting into Sephora Squad.
Thank you
Uh,
so much. I can't even think about this without wanting to cry. Um, Getting into Sephora Squad is obviously a huge honor, thinking about how many people, applied to get in. Just the fact that I'm in is, of course, so huge, but no offense to Fohr Squad, but the testimonials on their own is probably the biggest accomplishment of my life. I just can't even fathom it.
I mean, it was such a testament to what you've built and how you've done it. And obviously on this show, that's, I think, what I've tried to do over the years is give people actionable advice that they can use to, improve what they're doing, understand this space a little bit more. And so I just want to dive into first maybe your origin story. How did you start doing this? Why did you start doing this?
I started loving makeup videos when I was too young to even be makeup. Literally when I was 10 years old, I was watching YouTubers do makeup and stuff. And then one day, I swear this is such a cliche story, but I love it. I was standing in my bedroom with my now fiance. It was the beginning of 2019. And I was like, Lewis, I want you to remember this moment because I'm going to get really good at my makeup and I'm going to start posting on Instagram. This is my day one. And now all the time I'm like, remember that day? Because I love that I did that because now I know what my day one was. And that day I did my makeup, took a picture of my eye, and I posted it on Instagram, and that was the beginning.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, most people don't have that stark of a line in the sand, right? Where they're like, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. And to actually go out and do it is incredible. When did you start? So, okay, 2019, I mean, that's only 4 years ago, which is wild. When do you think you started to take it more seriously? It's a hobby, obviously. You're doing your makeup, you're getting better at makeup, you're getting better at creating content. When did you kind of switch over to feeling oh, maybe I'm really into this actually, and this is really fun?
I was really on and off up until literally 6 months ago. Maybe around 2021, I was like, I really want to get into TikTok because I'm seeing people find success with it. So I'm going to focus on TikTok. And I had a video in 2021 go really viral, had 26 million views. I was like, this is my big break, blah, blah, blah. But then one video does not make you. I thought I was all
Hmm.
that. But then I got pregnant with my son and I had a really long break. Then this all started. Back in February was when I really started to take this seriously. That was when I started doing my editing style, was when
Hmm.
I really found my identity, and it was more enjoyable once I found my identity in this space. So really, this has only been like a career type thing for about 6 months.
Wild. And now you have 1.5 million on TikTok, right?
1.9, we're almost to 2
1.9. Wow.
million.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, what a ride. I was going through your old videos, and your first viral video was like a trending sound up close you like of your makeup, right? And then you did the one where you're pulling your lashes off
Yes.
that did well, right? Knowing your content now, so kind of fun, the editing style, so over the top, so much color. It is funny because those videos, which did really well, like I didn't see as much of you in it, right? The video where you got 26 million, you're talking about going to your therapist and being really nervous because, you've got this insecurity and you're going in without a mask and, you're just talking, putting your makeup on. 26 million views is wild. I think it has 6 million likes or something on it. Did that start to like push you into being like, oh, like I should be opening up more about my
Yes.
life. I should be more kind of transparent and honest. And
Very much.
what did that teach you?
That taught me a huge lesson that there may be cute, trendy videos that are just music with you putting your makeup on, and those individual videos can do well, but that's not going to really build you a community. It can, but not on like a really deep level, like what I'm so grateful to have now. People can appreciate your art, but they don't know you. And I feel like you can't make you can make a different career out of that if that makes sense, but that's
Hmm.
not what I was looking for. So that video definitely told me, if anything, start talking in your videos. I was really
and
scared to
did
talk in my videos, but changed my life.
and did you feel at all like a bit of pressure? Like I think sometimes when we've told this to creators over the years of just like, hey, being transparent, being really open about things you're struggling with, um, is a great way to build a connection with your audience. But also like, do I need to like keep coming up with things that like ways that I can talk about not feeling great about myself or feeling insecure, right? Like, because now I feel like your videos are so much joy. They're overwhelmingly happy. So that's like a bit different than that video that went super viral.
Yeah, right after that video went viral, I felt pressured to talk specifically about my insecurity, which I did, and I made a few videos about it and they did well, but like there's only so much you can say about it before it's like we've heard everything and there's nothing else to say. I was like, is this all I'm good for? Like, I want to be known for my makeup. So I was happy that the video went viral, but I also felt like it might have went viral for the wrong reason. And I think that's why I milked it a little bit and then I kind of went on that hiatus because I just felt like I didn't know what direction to go in after that.
I want to be known for something else. I want to build a community off of something else. And after the 26 mil video, and you kind of put, TikTok away for 6 months or whatever, like how many followers do you think you had then, like after that?
Right before I took my long break, like in the period before this era, I had around 500K.
Okay,
So,
so you had a lot.
but like
And
350,000 of those were just from the one video. So,
did you? It's just like such an interesting choice. I mean, obviously you were having, a child. That's going to pull your focus away from social, understandably.
yes.
It's interesting that you walked away for a little bit, and then when you came back, you were so effective. Like, can you just like, do you fully understand? Like, do you have a nice idea of like what you were working through or what the thing was that allowed you to come back? And obviously, you've been successful getting up to 500,000 followers, but to come back and to change your content style, change the way you were doing things, and then like totally change your life. Like, was there something in that 6 months other than obviously like what was going on in your life, which is so exciting and wild and overwhelming? Was there anything else that you felt like there was like a something you had to get over, or a truth you had to like figure out for yourself before you were ready to come back?
So I was dealing really bad with postpartum anxiety and just constantly feeling like a cloud was over my head in a way that I can't even explain, just horrible. And I was like, I love my son and he is my world and I have nothing wrong with him being my world, but like, I need to do something for me. And I remembered the joy that I felt doing TikTok, even whether or not my videos did well. I just enjoyed doing it. And I was like, I need to come back to this. When I first
Yeah.
came back, I did not do all the sound effects and stuff. I had like a handful of videos when I first came back where I was really trying to be myself. And then one day I did the sound effects and it just took off and started a whole other thing.
How did you, I mean, the sound effect, I mean, the editing style is something that feels really natural. It feels almost nostalgic in some way, but it also feels so new. Like, I don't see, it's not something where I'm like, oh, I get it. Like, you jumped on this trend of like how people are editing videos, right? Like, when somebody messaged me and was like, oh, this woman already has like 20,000 testimonials. I was like, what the fuck? And when I was like, oh, wow, like this is like, these videos are wild. Like this is like I couldn't stop watching. It was like this is like, I have not seen stuff like this before. So like I think if you could like walk us through a bit of like finding that style, and then if there's kind of anything you've learned over time as you've like leaned into that style and gotten better at it. Any insights for people who aren't just like gonna copy you, which shouldn't be the insight, obviously.
Right. I first started doing it honestly because as I was editing my videos as I did before, I saw that TikTok added in-app sound effects. And I was like, sure, why not? Because I feel like when TikTok adds new features, they tend to push videos with those. So I was like, maybe if I use this, my videos will do better. And it worked that first time. And people commented, oh my God, the sound effects, like, you're so funny. And I was like, well, I'm just going to keep going with it. And it has
Yeah.
slowly progressed into just more and more different style. I think a good piece of advice would be, like I just said, if you see a new feature coming out in an app, they want you to use it.
Right.
And I will say, of course, I did not invent sound effects. I was inspired by a lot of YouTubers. Like back in the day, editing like this was more common, but I never really see it in short form content. So that was another thing. I was like, I feel like YouTube has maybe not as big as it once was, but what if I take the things I love about YouTube and like bring them into a short form video?
You know what it reminded me of was like being in high school, and I'm gonna date myself a little bit here, but being in high school and like the first time I heard like Eminem's that first album, and he was like using all of those sound effects in his raps, and like the
Yeah.
sound effects and the kind of goofiness was part of the song in a way that like I don't think any hadn't been really done before. It feels kind of like that. As you're filming, are you like, oh, I know I want to use this sound effect here, because you're like, it's the facial expressions and the other things that you do that kind of like line up with the sound effects. How much are you planning it ahead of time? Are you just like shooting one video? Are you cutting up? What's your process?
Every time I do my makeup, I try to do 2 to 3 videos. I don't want to do too many because I don't want people to get sick of the same thing, but also I like posting every day, and it's just not realistic to record every single day when I have a son and like other things. When you're recording 2 videos at once, it can get a little bit confusing. I will like record a clip, record a few clips of the first video, and then go and maybe do my eye look for one video, and then I'll come back to a different part of my face. There are definitely moments when I'm recording where I'm like, I know that I could use a good old fart right there and it would be funny.
One's too peach, too pink, one's too light. Is it? Just kidding, this one's light.
But that's not every single one, but there definitely are times where I'm like, I could fit this here. But a lot of the sound effects when I'm editing are like short form content is for short attention spans. That's why I love scrolling TikTok, because I'm constantly just staring. If I'm bored for even 1 second, I'm gonna scroll. And I keep that in mind when I'm editing, is if there's even like a millisecond of silence, that could be enough for somebody to say bye. So I
Yeah.
keep that in mind the whole time.
and you're pretty consistent, I'd say. Like, I think one of the things that's tough with TikTok is just how lumpy performance is for a lot of creators, and they're constantly trying to tap into the algorithm. Obviously, like you're tapped in right now, and I think you're like, you're consistently performing. How much are you nerding out on like keeping people's attentions? Obviously, you said that like if there's a moment of silence, I'm using a sound effect, but like I remember Mr. Beast talked about his videos and just about how, how much they're thinking about, that first 5 seconds and the thumbnail, and like how much have you kind of dove into that, and as you've had content that is like more consistently performing well, how much do you feel like like I know what the first 5 seconds of a video needs to be to get someone's attention?
That's always heavily on my mind. Like definitely algorithm type things, that is heavily on my mind, whether that's a good thing or not. I mean, I feel like I do use it to my advantage, but it definitely does get a little bit stressful. So I find it important to find a balance between creating content that I'm actually excited and enjoying, and also keeping in mind from like my career perspective, how this is gonna keep me where I want to be. The first few seconds of a video is so important. I know I'm just repeating like what everyone already knows, but it is so important. And also something that has helped me, not even if you don't do sound effects and all that goofy stuff, if you're recording videos in little segments, you need to go and clip the first like 0.2 seconds and the last 0.2 seconds of every clip. Because even if there's a moment of silence between a sentence, that is enough for people to get bored. Like that stresses me out, but it also helps me thinking about it,
Yeah.
There's a lot of things like consuming content that you don't think about that is actually so important.
One thing that's like so different with your videos is like the pace is frenetic, it's fast. Like I think sometimes beauty videos take like almost a spa like mentality, right? They're very slow, and it's very like, the kind of slow, vibey, like slightly electronic, slightly spa-y music. And yours are just like, like you're like literally leaning into the camera a lot, and like very, like it feels like, I'm like, is she speeding up the video, or is she just like good at talking fast when she's recording?
I used to be a menace buying eyeshadow palettes willy-nilly, but after Blend Bunny dropped the best eyeshadow formula in the world, I just didn't feel the need. But Maya's always talking about the Beauty Bay palette, so I decided, what the hell, let's just give it a go.
So maybe first answer that. Are you just like, because you're talking faster in your videos than you obviously are like right now.
Yes. I purposely talk fast in my videos because I'm like, if I can get as much information in at first, it will make them want to stay for more. I can fit more in a minute or so, So I do that on purpose. Some people say I talk too fast, and like, I get that, but also it's kind of necessary. Those spa videos are great, like the slow, relaxing videos. I love those videos. Those are great for people who are interested in what you're talking about already. But of course, my target is people who like makeup, but also to reel some people in who maybe don't know as much about makeup. I want them to be excited by the video, even if they don't really know completely what I'm talking about. So that's why I try to keep it like, you're so excited to be watching this right now.
You've built this community now. Obviously, like they went to bat for you. 100,000 testimonials is incredible. Outside of creating great content, what have you done to create this community? And the second part of that question is, what are you going to do to maintain it and make your followers continue to feel like it is a community and not just another huge influencer that they're following?
One thing that I think has really kept people coming back to my profile is starting a series. Like, people ask me how to kickstart or, give their profile a boost. Start a series, because it keeps people wanting more. They know what they're coming back to, but it's still going to be something different. Doing my makeup to match my earrings, that's what you're getting, but it's a different thing every time. Series are so great for bringing people back. Something that I plan to do, and actually just filmed a video saying how I need to get better at this, responding to more comments and DMs, because to me, I'm just a regular person. Like, who would give a crap if I talk to them? But like, when I respond to people's DMs, they're always so like excited and happy, and like, I mean, I can't believe it, but like, Making people individually feel special is something that I know has value and that I need to work on, because when I do nourish my audience that way, it pays off. I mean, and also on a personal level, because I would much
Right.
rather feel like I have friends than fans, you know?
If you can't keep doing, making people feel special one-on-one, which of course you're always going to have the like random DM you respond to, you're always going to try and respond to comments, right? But have you thought about how do I maintain this? How do I continue to make this feel special? And are there any creators that you look to and say, that's somebody who's grown a lot, who has a big following, who I feel like I want to emulate, who has done a great job kind of like keeping that community and staying true to themselves?
Yes, someone who would very much apply to that. She isn't really like a makeup guru, but Mama Tot, do you know her? She is so sweet. Like, she has a huge following just from being so sweet and making people feel validated. Of course, she has like 12 million followers. She can't respond to everyone, but yet you feel like she loves you individually. I would love nothing more than to have that. Um, I have anxiety and am insecure, and like I used to feel funny about wearing weird makeup out in public, but now that I do my videos and I'm telling other people it's okay to be weird, like who cares if you're wearing green eyeshadow at Walmart? Me reassuring other people like that has also kind of made me feel that way as well. So I think that really keeping positive makes a large difference. I think even if I wasn't doing my editing, that I still would be doing better now than I was before, because people would much rather hear, "You got this," than "I hate myself." You know?
Yeah, that's the thing about being vulnerable, is that, it does need to be balanced, right? Like, it's powerful when people feel like, oh, I feel like you have it together. I feel like you've got this following, you've got this cool life, you're doing all this stuff. Then you can share like your vulnerabilities, and it's like, oh, okay, you're like a human. You're like going through real
Yeah.
stuff, right? We're not
Like,
that
I have
different. And
insecurities, but here's what I'm gonna do about it, you know? I try to keep that perspective. Like, I feel really funny dressing nice because I have insecurities about my body, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
yeah.
Show other people they can do the same.
And I feel like the testimonials are such as you said, like, that you see it as kind of your biggest accomplishment. And I think, again, it's such a testament to what people are getting from you and what they think about you. And I think, like, it's why we created that technology and did that, because, like, we learned so much from that, right? And if we just go through, like, we were going through some of them and pulling out kind of keywords. And of course, there's like hardworking mother, very skilled at makeup, purest, cutest oddball ever. But like a lot of, right, like love the energy she brings, love how she makes her videos and her storytelling, actually a relatable character, funny and genuine, open with mental health, inspires me to get up even when I'm sad, inspires people to be confident in themselves, very raw and real, not afraid to push boundaries. Like that's, those are all amazing, and I think they were also consistent, right, about what people really liked and what they got from you. This is more of a existential question. Your life, I think, is about to like dramatically change over the next couple of years. I just wonder if you think about how how you stay true to kind of being yourself, but like celebrating those changes in your life. I think a lot of creators, they find commercial success and financial success, and they start to, even the makeup that they're wearing, right, gets a lot more expensive, and the things that they're interested in change because their life changes, right? And then their audience starts to feel like, oh, I can't really relate to this person as much anymore, right? Like, have you thought about like just like, your life is not normal anymore? I'm sure you walk around and get recognized all the time, right? Like that's not a normal person's experience, right? And so like already you're kind of losing some of that relatability because your life is changing. Like, have you thought about how you're gonna try and keep that?
Because I am so honest, overly so, that will help me keep the connection that I have. I post on my Instagram story like it's a private Snapchat story. And this is I hate having anxiety. I hate all the issues that I have, but this is a time where it benefits me, because honestly, I am so scared of being a fraud that I don't think I would ever allow myself to be. Like, I am so scared of becoming something negative that I will make it my mission to not do so.
Mm-hmm.
The validation that I've gotten from just people being so nice to me, like I am so mind blown by the fact of course, the testimonial thing, but the fact that daily people take the time to come in my Instagram DM and be like, I was so sad today, but your video made me laugh. Like, that's a person sitting on their phone that took time to type that out.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see myself ever not being mind blown by that. And I hope that if that time ever comes, that someone will come yank me back down to earth because I like no amount of money could ever replace the feeling that I have knowing that me being goofy and stupid like improves people's lives somehow.
I love that. I believe it, and believe that like that is, you know, that is going to be a focus for you. And I think it is the like authentic, real, interesting, unique stories that get lifted up. And of course, like, you know, they tap into like our norms and preconceived biases and, you know, all of that. And, but I think that like, there are moments where like, yeah, these truly unique voices can kind of like cut through and do something special, which is because you're such an example of. Obviously, there is a deep human impact that you are like hoping to have and continue to have, right? You're talking about mental health, you're talking about individuality and anxiety and all of these things. I would love to hear more of just where you want this to go for you, right? Like, of course, making videos, continuing to inspire people, continuing to be able to like be a part in this industry that you love is really exciting. But do you have like do you have a, you know, some kind of goalposts along the way of things that you want to do that you can share?
I really think I am so happy with what I am doing that I would love to just sail with this as long as possible. I know that that's not really. I watched your episode last week. Someday it's all going to come to an end, inevitably. No matter how amazing you do, you're not a god, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, really, I know this sounds so cliche, but my only goal is to just try to be in the moment as much as possible. I love sharing my makeup, of course. My videos are about makeup, but the person to person impact means more to me than that. And if I could just continue having a community, I really can't ask for anything more. I mean, opportunities like the Sephora Squad, amazing. Of course, I would take anything like that as it comes to me, but that isn't my goal. Like, my goal isn't to really push myself forward, but to just enjoy what I have.
Wow, I love that. Sephora Squad, you're going to be, you know, there are a lot of brands that you're going to gain access to and you'll be working with. Do you have any like dream partnerships, brands that you're like, this is who I really want to work with that you haven't yet? I'm sure you've done a bunch of them already, but.
Well, my dream brand, I am so lucky that I have done some partnerships with Urban Decay. The first thing I ever went to Sephora for was to get the Naked 2 palette when I was 12. I thought that I needed it so badly. I've always loved Urban Decay. I'm so lucky to work with them. Other brands, I would love House Labs, of course. Really just any of them. Any of them knowing me is just the biggest honor. I think
Right.
I just said that my goal isn't to push myself forward, but one thing that I would love to do is to have my face in a Sephora or just be in some type of like photo shoot. I would love for people I went to school with to walk into Sephora and be like, is that
Well, I feel like, you know, we know a couple of people that can probably make that happen. So it's good to, you know, it's good to put that out into the universe. Um, you touched on this a little bit about like content styles and hacks. Like people must ask all the time, what should I do, right? You said like start a you know, start a kind of a series that helps. Obviously, keeping things moving quickly. You're kind of leaning into your individuality. Anything else that you've learned, especially this year, as things have kind of been blowing up? That even if you could go back and tell yourself in February, that would be helpful.
I think what I would tell myself is that there's definitely a norm of how makeup videos are, and it's easy to feel like you need to do that, even in my mind, I thought that I didn't think that, but I did, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of your videos need to be, here's this eyeliner, here's how it works. I love it so much. Like, all makeup videos don't need to be boring. Like, I'm sorry for saying that, but like if you're sitting there editing your video and you can't even watch your own video all the way through, because that would happen to me.
Yep.
Another big thing, this isn't necessarily having to do with your content specifically, but posting every day, especially if we're talking about TikTok and Instagram, that makes a huge difference. Even
Mm-hmm.
if you don't switch up your content, like being consistent, not only I feel makes a difference in the algorithm, but also, of course, the way brands see that you are
Mm-hmm.
reliable and such. Those are really the biggest points that have helped me.
Yeah, we have been encouraging people to post more. I think TikTok has helped, but like with stories, people have gotten so used to posting on stories that like I think it just kind of happened and people don't realize it, that they'll be like, oh, I'm posting 5 times a month in feed, and I'm just
Hmm.
kind of doing stories. There's really no way to grow if you're not posting, right? Like if you're not posting, people aren't finding you, there's not going to be any way to grow. And so like, yeah, you just got to get more content out there. I feel like TikTok especially like rewards posting quite a bit because
Yes.
growth is driven so much by those videos that do better than normal, right?
If I were to start a brand new TikTok and start all over, I would post 3 to 5 times a day until you have like 10K. Like it's really difficult to come up with ideas, but like you have to prove yourself to the algorithm. And then once you have more of an established audience, once or twice a day, that's excellent. It's not
Mm-hmm.
very realistic for people who work like full time. I've been asked this question before, and when I tell people to post every day, they're like, I can't do that. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why I record multiple videos for the same makeup, because you have to be
Right.
realistic with yourself, but you also kind of have to have discipline if you want it to turn into like a career type of thing.
How long is it taking you to make a TikTok?
I would say it probably takes an average of about 4 hours to record 2 to 3
Mm-hmm.
videos. But I cannot complain. I have so much
Yeah.
fun. Like, of course, I have fun because I did this for years and years without any
Right.
monetary reward. Like,
Right. Like most people don't have a lot of good ideas. They have a couple of good ideas, right? You have like hit on what in the startup world we would call like product market fit, right? You are creating a product, these videos, the market loves them, right? Like it is very clear that like there was a gap, people weren't doing it, and like people are loving it. So at some point you have to shift, you have to introduce new things. Are you thinking about that yet? Are you thinking like, how can I push my editing style and tweak it a little bit and do something new so that it stays fresh and stays interesting, not just to your audience, but to you?
yeah, I'm constantly thinking about things that I can make into a series. Sometimes I need to just step back and tell myself it's okay if you don't know yet. Like it's good to be thinking about it, but don't put yourself into existential dread because I am. That's why series are so great because I can still be true to myself, but make it fresh at the same time. It's hard because some aspects of my content may get old, but I never want to lose myself because of that. I can change my editing, but I don't want to change myself. And that's another thing that I need to tell
Mm-hmm.
myself is there I may not get like a million views on every video someday, but there will still be people who appreciate me for who I am and that has
Mm-hmm.
more value. I would rather continue being different from everybody else than try to grasp my way out of a hole.
Right. And I think like what is such a lesson to take from your story is that it was when you let yourself just do whatever the hell you wanted and be your true authentic self that this really started working. Obviously, even before that, you did have a knack for this, right? Even when you were like kind of maybe replicating things that you saw on the platform and trying to do them your own way, like you obviously had a knack for it. You were good at this, and have like a natural talent for that. We don't want to downplay that, right? But that like once you really like let your freak flag fly and be like, this is me, just like
Yes.
throwing in, being like, this would be a, what was your quote? A place for a good little fart noise or something. Like that's when things started to do well. And I think like that's a great North Star for any creator, right? That like ultimately, I think it's so important for you to be excited about it. And if you're copying other people or you're trying to do a trend or a thing that doesn't make sense for you and feels awkward and weird, that like your audience or the algorithm, the people that don't know you are going to feel that, and it's not going to be interesting for them, right?
If you ever have a moment where you think you might have like an amazing idea, but you're just worried about if it's going to be well received or not, and that stops you from doing it, do it anyway. Do it anyway. Because I would not be where I am right now if I had not switched to that mindset. Because there were so many times in the past where I was doing more mundane type videos where I had these ideas in my head, but I was like, people are going to think I'm weird. People are going to think I'm annoying. And then the day that I just stopped giving a shit, my life began. Like, I really feel like I have just been given a new life.
That's, I mean, that's a quote right there. The day I stopped giving a shit, my life began. I love that. As somebody who talks about anxiety, talks about self-esteem, like, I think that's a big barrier to entry for some people. Wondering, like, is it something you've experienced? How do you deal with those kinds of comments? What's your process there?
I definitely have experienced that. I think everyone does to some extent. It's exciting having a video go viral, but that is the other side of the coin, is that you will get negative comments. Like, you will. It used to really, really bother me because I have low self-esteem as it is. So I could have a million nice comments and the one mean comment will stick in my mind. I have comment filters on, which I recommend. I didn't want to for a while because people will be like, oh, you must be filtering your comments, and that's why there's no mean comments. And I'm like, yeah, because why should I read that? Why should I read that? People won't tell me anything I don't already know or haven't thunk already. And my experience online has been so overwhelmingly positive after I did that. So no shame. Like, take care of yourself. Who cares if other people think you're lame?
Exactly. It's like, this is your house. Like, you don't have to invite someone in to spit in your face. Like, you know, you can just be like, stay out of my house. I don't want you here.
Thanks for the engagement, though.
Right. Thank you. I think that's so powerful because I think, you know, whenever I talk to any big creator, even celebrity, right? They're like, no, I see the comments, and the nasty comments are still nasty. You can talk about not giving them space or ignoring them or telling yourself, you know, looking at all the positive ones. But I think ultimately, yeah, it would behoove a lot more people to just like filter those things out, block people who are really being abusive or toxic. It's like, it's your community. It can be exactly what you want. And I think you've cultivated something that's so positive, and it feels like this fun, weird, little exciting niche of the internet. I'm so excited we get to continue to work with you, and I'm excited to see your journey, and thank you so much for sharing the insights today.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel this is like a milestone for all of the weird people in my community. Like, I'm here on a podcast with you. I am so honored, and I will remember this forever. Thank you so much.
Well, you did a great job, and good luck filming out at Sephora. Go to Sunset Tower, sit in a dark room, listen to jazz, and feel like you're in like old Hollywood, and enjoy the ride. It's what a fun part of the journey that you're on right now.
I'm so excited, and thank you. I feel like all of this is thanks to you. Thank you. Even though I knew that I got a lot of testimonials, but there still was this feeling in my mind, like I still didn't know if I would get chosen, you know? You could see that as a number, but Sephora might not necessarily think I'm a good fit for them. So the fact that I got chosen, regardless of me being weird and not really the standard, is such an honor. I'm so honored to be part of this. I'm so honored to be talking to you, and I'm just so excited. Thank you. Thank you so much.
We're excited too. Thank you.